Recently, during an interview session that I had with the former executive mayor of Emfuleni and Sedibeng, Ntate Peter Skosana, I raised a claim that says that the placing of Sasolburg into Free State deprived the Vaal its economic diversity or fiscal sustainability, if you like. Now, following the release of that episode and in one of our short forms on Facebook, we then had Ndate Nico Ntema, who challenged the basis of that claim as a fact. And we had to go back and review the evidence. And I think after that, it's important that we come back here and set the record straight. So the origins of that claim itself can be traced back to a conversation that I had with a former speaker of Sedibeng, Mekidiboni Mokgotsi. Let's have a look at the conversation.
To keep the name alive. This is the Vaal Triangle.
Okay.
Yeah. Hasifela Valley, it was known as Vaal Triangle. It was a triangle because in against places like your Sasolburg,
Okay.
that part of the Free State.
Yes.
Sasolburg was part of the Vaal as far as industries, in fact, everything. It in a Vaal Triangle because this triangle in its our rekentse sosolo ka hare, and it used to be a very successful and alive Vaal Triangle. Ho fitla this issue ya hore now we must work on the demarcation.
Okay.
Not only in the Vaal but throughout the country. And that particular process, demarcation, then affected us as the Vaal. We had to agree hore Sosol is no more part of the Vaal as it is, Vanderbilt Park, Vereniging, and all the townships around and so on. So Solo is fully part of the Free State.
Of the Free State.
Yeah.
So during this discussion with Memokgotsi, I'd understood her to mean that Sasolburg originally, it had or it formed part of an administrative arrangement which was linked to the Vaal. And during the 1993 or 94 formation of provinces, then Sasolburg got placed into the Free State. And this led to me forming the argument or the claim that I had with Ntate Skosana. Let's have a look at the conversation. Mamokgotsi says before the formation of this district,
Yeah.
Sasolburg used to form part of the Vaal.
Yeah.
And somebody last week made a comment on my comment sections to say that was a mistake. It was a mistake to take Sasol out of the Vaal.
Yeah.
Because when we took out Sasol out of the Vaal, we then created a Vaal that has only one main economic activity, which is steel.
Yeah.
Whereas if we had, kept Sasol, we would have had petroleum, we would have had petroleum and gas. Would have had the mine itself, Siriti. Now what is Siriti? Eskom as well. According to you, why is it that Sasol was taken out of the Vaal?
I think
is that not a mistake? Was that not a mistake?
I think we needed to look holistically at the whole country.
Okay.
Firstly, there were decisions of how the ANC will be demarcated in terms of the different provinces.
Okay.
So I suppose when we looked at the Free State, I think they call it the North, the northern part of the Free State, which is around Parys and Sasolburg and so on. If you take out Sasolburg, out of that equation, basically you're creating a void in that province that you want to call the Free State.
But it becomes an agricultural region.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So you didn't want it to become, to remain an
In
agricultural.
the same way that you're saying to just have steel as the main industry, probably could have been done differently. There was a lot of resistance from the people especially the comrades in Zamdela, around, because all along they were part of what was called the PWV region, what is called the Vaal Triangle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So were they resisting to become? Did they want to become part of?
They wanted to become part of the PWV, to remain part of the PWV.
Mara, it's a mistake.
You see. But like I say, you have to look at the totality of the country.
So you took a big part of the economic activity of a region, let's say the southern part of the I'm going to use the word Vaal.
Yeah.
You took the bulk of the economic activity of the Vaal, which was densely populated around Emfuleni still then, having so many people in this region, and you gave that part to a smaller population, ka Free State. And the people in that portion, the northern part, were also saying, we want to remain part of the Vaal.
Yeah, some of them, not everyone. Others saw opportunities, in being part of the Free State. Others felt, hey, no, we can't. For the better part of our youthful activism, and revolutionary struggle, we are part of the Vaal,
Yes.
and now we have to be part of a different province. Like I say, also it was also out of the demarcation processes.
Yeah, for me, I battle with that because
the same demarcation processes, if they had succeeded in recent times, now talking about recent times,
yes,
okay, they gave us the problems of Matatiele, Carltonville, I think somewhere also in Mpumalanga, where people did not want to go to certain regions, And in our region, if the strategy of the DA and Midval had succeeded, the whole of Three Rivers would have been part of Midval. The whole of Three Rivers. I'm saying to you, in the politics of demarcation, the demarcation board gets information, makes determination through processes of consultation, okay, and end up with the demarcations that we have.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah.
If Sasolburg was not part of the triangle, I would have understood.
If the idea, Gauteng had something that they were calling the Gauteng Global City Region. Okay. Firstly, they were arguing that the economy of Gauteng does not end at the border of the Vaal River.
Yes.
Okay. The economy goes beyond the Vaal River. The economy of Gauteng goes up to Rustenburg. So we're not saying let's have one big province called Gauteng. All we're saying is, can we find a way in which we can be able to harness each other's leverage on each other's strengths, to build a bigger global area,
But
wherein not just Gauteng thrives, but Rustenburg thrives, Sasolburg thrives, but there are also interlinkages.
But then
and the last thing was that part of that was to say, okay, I think at the time we had about 11 municipalities, 3 metros, and about 8 local municipalities, category B municipalities, And they were saying, no, but we need about 5 strong municipalities. We don't need all these many municipalities.
Sure.
Yeah. In the ANC conference, there was a discussion and a debate about reducing the number of provinces. And some parties are also still pursuing that thing. Let's reduce the number of provinces.
Now, and I hear you. All I'm saying is, part of the reason why the Vaal was thriving, it was because it had a very diverse economic activity. And you splitting it and the way you demarcated it, you created a situation where what is now the Vaal is only having a single economic activity, which is in the main. And that now becomes the steel industry. If this collapses, so essentially you've weakened the region by making that decision. Because if anything happens in the future of the Vaal, which is where we are sitting today, we sit in the future where the Vaal has only one economic activity. Whereas prior to that, the Vaal had a very diverse economic activity around the river. And you breaking that has led to us now having only one economic activity, that is. And if that one thing that makes us who we are fails, essentially, renche.
Yeah, look, I think sometimes, like they say, hindsight is the best side.
So following the episode and the challenge that we received from Tateni Kontema, who provided also historical context, we're prompted to go back and look at the evidence. And this is what we found. Number 1, Sasolburg has always formed part of the Orange Free State. Sasolburg was never part of PWV, which is Pretoria, Witwatersrand, and Vereeniging. Sasolburg was also never part of the Transvaal, which was a different province. The only relationship that existed between Sasolburg, Vanderbijl, and Vereeniging was that we were an economic region or a corridor. And that existed in the past, which is still something that exists today. So the claim, essentially, it cannot be supported because the basis of it is incorrect. However, having said all of that, I do think that there is a question that we need to ask, and in this podcast we'll continue to ask, and that is because this corridor, it has 2 different administrations. Have we not missed economic cooperation? Have we not missed integrated planning and development for the region as a result of this region being administered in 2 different provinces? I mean, we've got the Valses that is coming. We've got the Vaal River City that we are talking about in Gauteng. What is the relationship between Gauteng and Free State in ensuring that these projects that are being implemented this side, they are implemented with the corridor in mind rather than just the Vaal in mind? So that is a conversation that I think we want to continue to have on this podcast, and it is an important one. As a podcast, we are not in the business of defending positions, but our job is to ask questions and follow evidence. With that said, I do want to acknowledge Ntate Ndima for his contribution. We really appreciate that correction. And that is Skosana and Memo Khodzi for their contribution as well. I think we do not take that lightly. We appreciate it very much.